Okay, so this week we will go into verb hacking. That means how to hack any verb using this process. Okay, so using this process you will learn to hack almost any verb, maybe except the ill letters that where you may need some extra explanations. Okay, so I will start with explaining to you the box that you see on the paper. I'll just write them on the board. The elements, okay, what are they? P V S O. Can you see that? P V S O. Okay. So what it basically means is these are all the elements of a verbal phrase. Maknanya apa? Every time you see a verb, there is always a verb plus subject. Okay? We have explained this before, but I want to put it into an equation. Okay? So there is always a verb plus subject. So if I were to give you a verb like nazala, okay, what's the meaning of nazala? So descended. Okay. How do you know this is the past? Because you form hack. How do you form hack? It is as simple as bringing down the strokes. What are the strokes? Fatha, fatha, fatha. Okay? So you have this form. Okay? Actually, I am not trying to explain the form, but since we are going to the form, I'll just explain this a bit and then go back to the subject. So when you get the form, you get three things. Later I will expand on this. You get the fact, the form, the activeness, and the tense. Okay? But for now, I just want you to check on this. Okay. Look at your form hacker and tell me what is the form for fa'ala. So, fa'ala is 1.1, as in row 1, column number 1, fa'ala. So you know it's past because when you go up, it states that it is past. How do you know it's active or passive? It's stated there also it's active. Betul? How do you know it's we are done. Past. Tense is past, right? Tense is past. Anyway, the topic for PVSO, the point is not this. The point is there is a verb and a subject. Okay. So since every verb has a subject, which is what we have covered last week, we will just write it down here. Every verb has a subject. Okay? This is wajib Every verb has a subject. So dia rukun gitu, macam rukun verb. The pillar of a verb is there must be a subject. So where is the subject for nazala? In order to know the subject for nazala, we have to go to columns, either column C12 or column 13 or column 14 based on the tenses. Column 12 is what tense? Past. 13 present, 14 command. Okay, So based on the form that we have identified, this fa'ala is what? Tense past. So look at column 12. Okay, at column 12, you can see like something like stars, right? Those are the roots. So this is root 1, this is root 3, 2, this is root 3. Is there any suffix after the root 3? No. When there's no suffix after the root 3, there's only one row in past tense column. That non-suffix situation would mean that the subject is he or it, right? He or it. That would mean the meaning of nazala is he descended or it descended. He descended or it descended. Okay, from this week onwards, when I say columns, it will be referring to word hacker 8.0 or 8.1 that you have now. Okay, based on those columns. For those who didn't come last week, why do we have a new table? Because to save time, so that you can see the Arabic terms and the meanings in one paper, so you don't have to flip around. Even 1 second means a lot. Okay, sometimes just 1 second late, you would just be stressful and not hack a word. Alright, so you have a verb and a subject. Done. That is S and V. Okay, S and V. Sometimes you have a verb like, if I were to put something like na. Okay, and this nazala becomes sukun here. So it's nazal na. What's the meaning of nazal na? We descended. Okay, so when you look at row number, is it 14? 14, column number 12. So it's we descended. We descended. But if you go straight from row 14, you go straight to the end. Can you see a na there also? Right? So a na can also be an object pronoun, can be a subject pronoun. What's the difference? Did I tell you last week? The difference between subject and object is this. Okay? You go to na in subject, column 12.14, and then there is the root, right? 3 roots. You put on top of the third root sukun. On top of the third root, you put sukun. So when you have a word like nazalna, it means we descended. It doesn't mean something else, which I will go to now. Let's change it. Okay, let's change it now. I would change the nazalna to nazalana. Okay, nazalna means we descended. Nazalana means something else. Descended on us. Okay, we'll see. Okay, see this O? O stands for object. Okay. A verbal phrase always have these two elements. Okay. But sometimes it has an object. Okay. So when na becomes an object, we would write it here instead of here. Right? So what it means is there is nothing in the subject column, because we only have object, pronoun, and the verb. So we have the verb here, an object. And like we said, the pillar of a verb is a subject. There must be a subject. There cannot be a vacuum here. Alright? So when there is a vacuum, when there is no suffix subject after the third root, it means he or it. He or it. Na here means what? Us or our. So with that, nazalana means he actually nazalana has no meaning actually, because nazalana, it can't have an object. You can't macam saya turun dia. You have to say something else here. Okay, let us change this to make it possible to have an object. Okay, I will add a sabdu. Okay, so when I add a shadda, a shadda would mean cause. Okay, a shadda would mean cause. We are backtracking now. We are going back to the form again, and then we are going back to the object to give the meaning to it. Okay, now let's backtrack. Nazzala, the form of nazzala, it sounds like fa'ala. Okay, it sounds like fa'ala. So fa'ala is form number 2. Form number 2, past or present? Past. So form number 2, 2.1, past, active or passive? Active. Okay, alright. Now we go back, disregarding na. Okay, what's the meaning of just nazzala? So caused to descend, right? Caused to descend. So where's the subject for nazzala? He. So he caused to descend. Okay, so nazzala means he caused to descend. Alright, now once you are okay with that, what's the meaning of nazzala na? He caused us to descend. So nazzalana, he, which is inside here, he, and this one is caused, this one is us, nazala is descend. See that? Okay, so he caused us to descend. That is nazzalana. But what about nazzalna? So okay, we caused to descend. Ada objek tak kat sini? Any object here? No, right? No. Okay. Now, if I were to put an object, okay, who? What's the meaning of nazzalnahu? So what's the meaning of who? He or it, right? So nazzalnahu is we caused it to descend. Okay, we caused it to descend. Okay. Later on, when you go to the step-by-step formula, you will see everything in steps, and it will be more clearer. Okay. Now let's finish this. Okay. Let's take this wa. Okay. If I were to put a wa here, okay, what's the meaning of wa? N, right? So sometimes The verb subject, the verb plus subject does not just have an object, it also has a particle in front. Sometimes it just has the particle and without the object. So we'll just write particle here and we'll write the meaning, the wa, the meaning is n. The meaning is n. So what's the meaning of wanazzalana? What's the meaning of wanazzalana wa? And the subject is he caused us to descend. Okay, he caused us to descend. Okay, so that is the explanation for what a verbal phrase means. Okay, a verbal phrase has to have two elements. What are they? Verb and subject. Okay, it can also have extra elements. What are they? Object and particle. Okay, so what you need to also remember is every verb has a subject, and the subject of the verb comes, and the subject comes before or after? After the verb. Okay? So that is the introduction before we go to the 7-step verb hacking process, which may be the most powerful verb hacking process in the world. Okay, done. We take a 2 minutes break.